Hi, this is Nick with 10 Bell Pod, and here's 10 facts on the great Hayabusa. If you don't know Hayabusa, imagine Ricochet mixed with a Power Ranger. Hayabusa was just one of the most incredible, fun, great wrestlers of all time. His mask was cool, his theme was awesome, he had an endless moveset. He was just one of the coolest wrestlers ever. Not like, hey yo, Scott Hall kinda cool, but like the giant fire-breathing dinosaur robot at monster truck shows that eats cars kinda cool. Here's 10 facts. Hayabusa did have some training before he joined his home base, FMW, but it was at FMW that he got some of that legendary, brutal Japanese wrestling training. He lived in the dojo in a 5-person room that only had 4 beds, so he and training buddies had to take turns sleeping in the hallway. Their days started at 6 a.m. with a workout. From 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., they sold mattresses for an FMW sponsor. Then, they had wrestling training from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. After training, they had dinner and then cleaned the dojo sometimes until 2 a.m. They get 4 hours of sleep, wake up, do it again, with Sunday being their only day off. In the early days of FMW, while still wrestling under his real name, Ichiazaki, he got to work with a pretty cool mix of people. Sabu, Louis Spicolli, The Sheik, and a very young Chris Jericho. About 2 years into wrestling, Hayabusa went to Mexico to learn the Lucha Libre style from Rey Mysterio Sr. There he worked for CMLL, AAA, and World Wrestling Association. Also, since he wasn't a big established name in Japan yet, Mexico treated him like a rookie, so he basically had to start all the way back over. But it was here that he built a totally different skill set to take back home. It was also this Lucha Libre influence that led to him starting to wear a mask. Hayabusa translates to Peregrine Falcon, and you can see a falcon on a lot of his masks throughout his career. Back in the day on Nintendo 64, you could play as Hayabusa on WCW games, or at least like a version of Hayabusa. On WCW NWO World Tour, he was Hannibal. On WCW NWO Revenge, he was Hanzoman, and on WCW vs. the World, he was Habanero. While he did debut the Hayabusa gimmick in Mexico, the April 4th, 1994 New Japan Super J Cup is the first match on Japanese soil as Hayabusa, meeting Jushin Thunder Liger in the first round in a super awesome match. Hayabusa was super loyal to FMW. While he did work for other companies like a New Japan, All Japan, even ECW, he always turned down more lengthy roster spots, including offers from IWA Japan and WWE. Hayabusa invented the Phoenix Splash, which is one of the coolest moves ever. Unless you're here from like the Cornette crowd, then he also did some headlocks, which are, those are good too. Hayabusa did some pretty crazy matches. Just to name a few: War Games Deathmatch, a barbed wire exploding cage match, a hair versus mask match, which doesn't sound that bad, but after the match, Mr. Ganasuke tried to set Hayabusa on fire. A no-rope barbed wire, explosive, time bomb, deathmatch. A match reffed by Shawn Michaels, which isn't that nuts, it's just kinda crazy that happened. And last and kinda least, an anus exploding match. Hayabusa gave everything to pro wrestling, including his health. He suffered a career-ending injury on what was for Hayabusa a routine spot October 22nd, 2000. During a springboard moonsault off the second rope, or a lionsault if you will. He lost his footing, and on the flip he landed on his head, cracking the 2 same vertebrae as Christopher Reeves, leaving him paralyzed. If you can find the actual match, and not just the clip, the aftermath is truly heartbreaking. In 2015, Hayabusa did gain some mobility in his legs and was able to walk into a ring once again. It is straight up triumph of the human spirit uplifting stuff, with his childhood heroes Mil Mascaras and Tiger Mask helping him into the ring. After getting hurt, Hayabusa started a career as a singer. He also did a lot of touring around Japan, talking to kids, especially those with disabilities, and he was a huge advocate for the Paralympics. For more pro wrestling history, find 10 Bell Pod on your favorite podcast app, or find us on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok.